Today I'm going to show you how you can talk to any LLM out there like Grok, Gemini, GPT, or Claude without actually having to pay a subscription for each. It's going to be very simple. We just need an 8N account and OpenRouter account. And I'm going to walk you through all the steps so that you can see how easy this is. And in essence, what you're really doing is you're building your own Perplexity, a simple version of it. And if you don't know what Perplexity is, it's another commonly used AI tool that is being used more and more. And if you haven't heard about it, I will give you some info just so that you know how cool it is what you're actually building. So let's read what it says, what Perplexity AI is. Perplexity AI is an AI-powered answer engine that combines real-time internet searching with large language models, LLMs, to provide direct conversational answers to user queries. In essence, what they're doing is when you ask it a question like you usually do to ChatGPT or Grok or any other LLM that you use, you are expecting one answer back, right? And you expect the LLM to do its research whenever it needs to, and then you get your answer back, and then you continue the conversation. Perplexity, when you ask it a question, it shoots the same question to different models. For example, it will shoot the same question to GPT, to Claude, to Gemini, and then it'll do some sort of algorithm to rank what's the best answer is, and it will go and also search the internet to feed itself to see what's the very best answer for you. Well, guess what? You're gonna be able to build that just now. So the first thing that we'll need is an N8N.io account. It's free. You won't need to pay for the subscription. The free tier is more than enough for what you want to do on your daily use. So once you create the account, stay logged in, and then you're going to go to OpenRouter.ai. Also go ahead and create an account here. Once you have those two accounts, a quick note that's important is that even though you won't be paying for a subscription for all of these models, right? Like, $20 each at least, you won't be paying for any of that. OpenRouter, which is the one tool that gives you access to unlimited models, they do charge, but it's insanely cheap and it's less than a cent. So what you will need to do is add, $2, $3, $5 in your OpenRouter account. You will see that those $5 are gonna last you a very long time. I mean, very long time. I promise you that you'll be surprised how long the money can stretch, because the actual cost to talk to AI is very, very, very little. Then let's go back to N8N, and you're gonna see that your dashboard is empty. So we're going to go ahead and we're gonna create a workflow. First things first, always name your workflows. So this one, we're gonna say my own Perplexity. And the first thing that we want to do for workflows in N8N is say, what's the trigger for this workflow? What gets this thing that you're building going? And what we want to do is Perplexity type of experience, or ChatGPT experience, or Gemini experience, which means we just want to chat, right? Just like you use it. So once you click on that first step, you're going to type in chat, and then in here, you're gonna select chat, and then a new chat event under the triggers. You don't need to change any of these options. You could just leave it as is. And what's happening now is that we can actually open a chat window. That's the first part. So who do you want to chat with? Well, now you're going to click this plus sign, which is whenever you chat, who do we send the information to? Well, I want an AI agent. So you're gonna type AI agent, look for it. You don't need to worry about any of these options, and then just close it. So as of now, we have a chat message that comes in and it sends it to the AI agent. Which AI agent? So usually when people build workflows here, for example, in N8N, they select the OpenAI ChatGPT models, and what happens is that you're only talking to OpenAI ChatGPT. But what we're doing today is be able to talk to any model that you want. So how do you do that? Instead of selecting an OpenAI chat model, you type in open and you look for the OpenRouter chat model, okay? Once you select it, you're going to get to this window for the settings. Now, if you have never used N8N before, you're gonna see that this top section for the credentials is gonna be empty. you need to be able to connect and tell your N8N workflow how to talk to OpenRouter. For that, you need something called an API key. So what we're gonna do is that we're gonna go to OpenRouter, the account you created, go here to your settings, and then go to API keys, and then you're going to hit create. For this one, let's call it OpenRouter demo key. You can set limits for the credit amount. So for example, if you don't want a key to use more than $3, if you're gonna be doing some crazy recurring loops and you wanna cap it, you could do that. You could also set an expiration time. For the sake of this demo, we're just gonna leave it empty. OpenRouter demo key, create, and it's going to give you the key. You're going to copy it, then back in your workflow. Here you're gonna have an option that says new credentials, but I wanna show you a better way. What you're gonna do is that you're gonna go back to your dashboard, and then in here, instead of creating workflow, you're gonna hit create credential. And here you're going to look for OpenRouter, and you're gonna paste in your key, and you're gonna name it OpenRouter demo, for example, and you're gonna hit save. Okay, it goes ahead and it tests the connection for you to make sure everything's okay. So let's go back to our workflow, and when you come in here, now you're gonna see that your OpenRouter demo account is being listed there. That's what you need so that you can actually communicate with your OpenRouter account. So for the sake of this demo, let's start with GPT 4.1 mini. So right now what we have built, look at that, it's been, I don't know how long, 4 minutes, and we have built a workflow that takes in a chat message. It talks to an AI agent and it sends it to the agent of your choosing. In this case, it's gonna be GPT 4.1 mini. So let's give it a spin. We're gonna go down here and say open chat, and then we're gonna say, how is the weather today in Hawaii? It sent a message to the agent, it went to GPT 4.1, and then now it came back with an answer, just like when you are in chat at openai.com, or when you're chatting to any of your favorite LLMs, you get your answer back. This is pretty much how every LLM out there works in the background. Every time you see the nice fancy UI, they're just grabbing the input that you're sending it and they're giving it to their agent. They have more things to process, memory and whatnot, but this is a very simple way of how all these LLMs work. Now, let me show you the really cool part, which is, okay, we're talking to GPT 4.1. What if I want to now talk to Claude or Gemini or any other model? All I would have to do is go in here, double click in the OpenRouter, and the model, you just select, and look at this. I mean, you have insane amount of models. There's probably a bunch that you didn't even know. For example, you have GPT audio just for audio tasks. So instead of having to do everything in a generic model, when you're in ChatGPT, for example, you can actually ask very specific tasks for very specific models and get a way better answer than you can ever get inside of the other UI. So, and you can compare also the answer to other models. So let's go ahead and let's do a experiment so you can see how you can put this to use in real life. We're gonna go ahead and we're going to reset the chat session. So every time you open the chat, you have an option appear to reset the chat session so that you can start from scratch. So right now we have GPT 4.1, and let's go ahead and say, I don't know, act as a financial advisor, will give me a recommendation for a stock to invest my first $100. We want to become rich off of AI, so that I can the best return. Tell me, and I'm gonna ask it to give me some details so that you can see how the answers vary from LLM to LLM. Tell me for simple and concise reasons as to why you made such recommendation. All right, so remember, we're talking to ChatGPT 4.1 for now, and let's see where we should invest our first $100. Okay, so it finished. It says, I recommend investing your first $100 in Apple. Look at that. All right, so like I said, this is just like when you're chatting with any other LLM out there. GPT, Grok, Gemini, it doesn't matter. You give it a question, it spits back out the answer. Don't worry for now about this right-hand section. This is more when you want to follow the logs and when you start doing some more advanced stuff in N8N, even though you do get your output very cleanly here on the right side. We have our first answer. Now that I've given you this superpower to be able to talk to any model, what we're going to do is that we're going to come here. Well, let's actually first, we're going to copy this. I always get in the habit of copying it. And then we're going to reset the session and we're going to change the model. And now instead of GPT, why don't we ask Grok 4? Okay, so it's saving. Now we're going to open the chat and we're going to paste the same message. And let's see what Grok says. Think about this. In a matter of seconds, we went from GPT 4.1 to now Grok, right? So if this were you actually trying to see, hey, I have $100 and I want to invest it and I want to get some good returns, this is a great way to do comparisons. So now let's see what Grok is saying. They're saying to invest in VOO. That's very interesting, right? They're telling us to start investing in not necessarily a specific stock, but to invest in an ETF. Now we have two different points of view. Oh man, what do we do now? Well, that's okay. We can always now talk to maybe Gemini, right? And now that we can just switch, I can ask Gemini the exact same question. Why not? Now we'll get a third point of view. And what's cool is that, remember, I can always go back now to GPT and say, hey, if I have $100 and I have three options, Apple, VOO, and whatever this gives me, which one would you pick out of? And I could repeat the same question to all 3, 4, 5, 6 models and get an answer. So now let's see what, who are we talking to now? We're talking to Gemini? Yeah, talking to Gemini. So let's see, it's telling us to invest in VOO. So there you have it. Within a matter of seconds, I was able to make or to get a sound information on where I should invest my $100. See how powerful this is? You are able to talk to different AI models all within seconds. The money you spend is nowhere near what you would imagine. Is below a cent each and every request, below a cent. Now, think about this. If you have a workflow already in place, instead of having it directly talk to, I don't know, GPT APIs or very specific LLMs, you can always use OpenRouter and be able to change the LLM because, as you know, everything is evolving insanely fast. And if Grok, for example, comes out tomorrow being the very best LLM to process video, you don't want to redo all your workflows. You want to just be able to change the model, maybe adjust your prompt, but now within a few clicks, you have your workflow updated and talking to a very different model and handling different results than having to make everything from scratch. There it is. I hope this helped you out. I urge you to use N8N. It's very simple, just with this AI agent, and you will be able to compare things very fast, very easily, and you won't have to be paying all these different subscriptions just to try these models. And maybe if you really find yourself always liking one model, yeah, you can go ahead and pay for that subscription and use their IDE and everything else. But in the meantime, this gives you so much power. If you like this video, don't forget to subscribe. I'll be coming out with a lot more AI-driven content that will give you power so that you can expand your ideas and so that you can be up to date with all these tools that are coming out, because at the end of the day, that's what will give you the power. Knowing what's possible, knowing what's out there, and knowing how to be able to talk to different things without having to dive so deep into each one of them before you actually know which one works for you.